Chapter 1: The Rebellion. In the aftermath of the devastating Hunger Games, the oppressive regime of the capital sought to crush any glimmer of hope from the oppressed districts. Katniss Everdeen, the fearless victor of the 74th Hunger Games, had unwittingly become the symbol of rebellion, thanks to her defiant act of choosing love over survival by threatening to eat the deadly nightlock berries with Peter Mellock. As the government's grip tightened, whispers of rebellion echoed through the districts like a secret melody, growing louder and more daring with each passing day. The capital, fearing the emergence of a united resistance, decided to make an example of District 12, where Katniss and her family lived. A ruthless bombing campaign was unleashed, turning the once thriving district into a haunting landscape of rubble and ashes. Amidst the chaos and destruction, Katniss's world shattered. Desperate to protect her loved ones, she searched for her family amidst the wreckage, her heart pounding in her chest, praying that they had somehow survived the onslaught. Her mind was plagued with guilt and anguish, questioning whether her defiance in the arena had triggered this brutal retribution. As the smoke cleared, Katniss's friend Gale, now a courageous rebel fighter, emerged from the shadows, risking his life to save Katniss's sister Prim and her mother. They were the only family she had left, and she clung to them with every ounce of strength she had, her tears mingling with the dust on her face. The rebellion had ignited, and Katniss found herself thrust into a role she never asked for: the Mockingjay. District 13, once thought to be annihilated, revealed itself as the heart of the rebellion, hidden beneath the Earth's surface. There, she met President Alma Coin, a strong and determined leader, and Plutarch Heavensby, the mastermind behind the rebellion's propaganda efforts. In the underground base, Coin and Plutarch implored Katniss to become the face of the rebellion, to inspire hope in the oppressed districts and rally them against the capital's tyranny. Reluctant at first, Katniss hesitated, fearing that her actions would lead to more suffering and loss. But as she witnessed the indomitable spirit of her fellow rebels and saw the atrocities inflicted by the capital, she knew that she had to stand up and fight. Encouraged by her mentor and confidant, Haymitch Abernathy, Katniss agreed to take on the role of the Mockingjay. But filming the propaganda proved to be an arduous task. The weight of the rebellion bore down on her shoulders, and the words scripted for her felt hollow and forced. Haymitch, ever the astute observer, saw her struggle and offered a simple but powerful piece of advice: be yourself. With newfound resolve, Katniss took Haymitch's words to heart. She decided to speak from the heart, sharing her real emotions, fears, and desires. The authenticity of her message resonated with the districts, and her role as the Mockingjay became more than just propaganda. It became a symbol of defiance and hope, a rallying cry for the oppressed to rise up. As the rebellion gained momentum, Katniss led missions to various districts, witnessing firsthand the devastating consequences of the capital's oppression. In District 8, she saw the aftermath of a ruthless bombing, with injured civilians desperately seeking aid and shelter. The horrors she witnessed weighed heavily on her soul, fueling her determination to bring down the capital's reign of terror. However, the journey was not without its casualties. During a mission, Katniss and her team faced a brutal ambush by horrifying mutant creatures unleashed by the capital. Many of her comrades fell, and Peter, whom she believed to be safe, was captured and subjected to unspeakable torture by the capital. As she stared at the ruins of her once beloved District 12, grappling with the pain and loss, Katniss began to question the true cost of rebellion. She questioned whether the rebels were truly any better than the capital, as they too resorted to violence and manipulation. Doubts gnawed at her conscience, threatening to consume her spirit. Yet, amidst the darkness, a spark of hope flickered within Katniss. She knew that she had to find a way to rescue Peter and her captured friends, to end this cycle of violence, and to expose the sinister machinations of both sides. The road ahead was treacherous, and the burden she carried was heavy, but she was determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the Mockingjay, Katniss had become more than just a symbol. She was the embodiment of resilience and defiance, a beacon of hope for a nation yearning for freedom. But as the rebellion raged on, she realized that the journey to victory would be one of sacrifice, heartache, and self-discovery, forever altering the course of her life and the fate of Panem. Chapter 2: Journey to District 13. In the dimly lit corridors of District 13's underground base, Katniss found herself entangled in a web of political intrigue and hidden agendas. As the Mockingjay, she had unknowingly become a pawn in the rebels' elaborate game of deception. President Coin and her advisors were not as transparent as they seemed, and the price of trust weighed heavily on Katniss's mind. Haunted by the capture of Peter and the loss of her comrades, Katniss was determined to rescue him from the clutches of the Capitol. But Coin, shrewd and calculating, had other plans. She saw Katniss as a symbol, a powerful tool to manipulate the districts and solidify her own power. The rebellion, once a noble cause, was now tainted with the thirst for control and vengeance. Plutarch, the mastermind behind the rebellion's propaganda, appeared sympathetic to Katniss's plight. He shared stories of his own loved ones lost to the Capitol's cruelty, appealing to her empathy and desire for justice. Yet, behind his reassuring smile, Katniss sensed a hidden motive. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was just a puppet dancing to the tune of others, and it gnawed at her like a persistent hunger. As the days turned into weeks, Katniss continued her role as the Mockingjay, filming more propaganda videos and making impassioned speeches. However, the toll on her emotions was immense. Each time she saw her face on the screens, she was reminded of the lives lost, the families torn apart, and the innocent blood spilled. The weight of responsibility threatened to crush her, and she longed for a moment of respite from the turmoil. During a rare moment of solitude, Haymitch sought her out. His gruff exterior softened as he shared his own fears and doubts about the rebellion's leadership. He warned her to be cautious, as the hunger for power often corrupted even the noblest of intentions. His words struck a chord with Katniss, and she couldn't help but wonder if she had unwittingly placed her trust in the wrong hands. Her growing unease was compounded when she discovered that Coin had allowed her family in District 12 to be kept safe underground. While relieved at first, Katniss couldn't shake the feeling that it was a calculated move, intended to ensure her loyalty. The Capitol and the rebels were two sides of the same coin, each willing to use innocent lives as leverage for their gains. Despite the doubts gnawing at her, Katniss knew she had to stay strong for Peter. She was determined to find a way to rescue him, even if it meant going against the orders of the very people she was supposed to trust. With the help of her trusted allies, including Gale, Finnick, and Borgs, she devised a daring plan to infiltrate the Capitol and rescue Peter and the other captured tributes. The journey to the Capitol was treacherous, filled with danger and uncertainty. Katniss and her team faced deadly obstacles, narrowly escaping death on more than one occasion. Yet, the fire of rebellion burned within her, driving her forward with unwavering resolve. Her emotions were a maelstrom: fear for Peter's safety, anger at the capital's cruelty, and a simmering suspicion of the rebels' true intentions. In the midst of their perilous mission, Katniss discovered a surprising ally in Tigris, a former capital resident with an enigmatic past. Tigris, who had once been a stylist for the Hunger Games, now harbored a deep resentment for the capital's tyranny. Her hidden underground shop provided a safe haven for Katniss and her team, a sanctuary where they could rest and gather their strength for the impending rescue mission. As they neared the heart of the capital, Katniss's determination intensified. The odds were stacked against them, and the price of failure was too great to bear. She couldn't allow Peter and the others to suffer any longer at the hands of President Snow and his sadistic regime. But little did she know that a heart-wrenching revelation awaited her, one that would shake the foundation of her beliefs and shatter the illusions of trust she had clung to. In the belly of the capital's beast, facing unimaginable horrors, Katniss would confront the truth behind the rebellion's hidden agenda. Betrayal and sacrifice loomed on the horizon, and the Mockingjay would be put to the ultimate test of loyalty and love. The choices she made in those critical moments would shape not only her destiny but the fate of all those she held dear in a world teetering on the brink of revolution. Chapter 3. The Symbol of the Mockingjay. As the Mockingjay and her allies ventured deeper into the heart of the capital, the air was thick with tension and apprehension. Every step they took felt like a dance with death, and the weight of their mission pressed down on them like an oppressive fog. Yet, Katniss knew she had to press on, for Peter and the others still languished in the clutches of President Snow. Their journey led them through a labyrinth of hidden passages and treacherous traps, a stark contrast to the opulent and decadent facade of the capital above. The once glamorous city now bore the scars of rebellion, with broken buildings and rubble-laden streets. It was a city that had lost its luster, mirroring the shattered dreams of its citizens. Amidst the chaos and devastation, they encountered pockets of resistance, groups of capital citizens who had grown disillusioned with Snow's rule. These brave souls, inspired by the Mockingjay's courage, had taken it upon themselves to aid the rebels in any way they could. They provided valuable information about the capital's defenses and the movements of the peacekeepers, helping Katniss and her team navigate the treacherous terrain. The rebels' ranks swelled with each new encounter, as more capital citizens cast off their allegiance to the tyrant. Some had lost loved ones in the Hunger Games, while others had witnessed the horrors of the capital's oppression firsthand. Each story served as a poignant reminder of the stakes they were fighting for, the hope of a better future, where no child would be forced to fight to the death for entertainment. As they pressed on, Katniss found herself haunted by memories of her past. She recalled the innocent faces of the fallen tributes, the friends she had made and lost in the arena. The weight of their deaths bore down on her, fueling her resolve to end the cycle of violence perpetuated by the capital. She knew that every life she saved, every act of defiance she committed, was a tribute to those who had perished. The closer they drew to the capital's central stronghold, the more perilous their journey became. The capital's security tightened, and they encountered ruthless peacekeepers at every turn. Each confrontation tested their mettle, and sacrifices were made along the way. The pain of loss gnawed at their spirits, but it only strengthened their determination to see their mission through to the end. In the midst of the turmoil, Katniss's relationship with Gale took an unexpected turn. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, their long-standing friendship blossomed into something deeper. Their hearts sought solace in one another, finding comfort and understanding in the face of unimaginable horrors. The connection they shared was a ray of hope amidst the darkness, a reminder that even in the bleakest of times, love could still flourish. As they reached the capital's inner sanctum, they discovered Peter held captive in a heavily fortified cell. His physical and mental state had deteriorated, a result of the capital's cruel and relentless torture. Katniss's heart broke at the sight of the boy she once loved, now a mere shell of his former self. Yet, even in his weakened state, Peter managed a weak smile when he saw Katniss, and that small glimmer of recognition rekindled the fire within her. The rescue mission that had started as a daring plan now evolved into a desperate struggle against time. With the capital's forces closing in, Katniss and her allies hatched a daring escape plan. Each member of the team had a crucial role to play, and they executed their maneuvers with the precision of a well-choreographed dance. As they fought their way to freedom, the capital's defenses struck back with a vengeance. The deafening sound of explosions and the acrid smell of smoke filled the air, heightening the sense of urgency. In the chaos of the battle, Katniss and her team were separated, and she found herself cornered by a group of peacekeepers. Just as all hope seemed lost, unexpected reinforcements arrived. The citizens of the capital, inspired by the Monkingjay's bravery and the resilience of her team, had risen in rebellion. They flooded the streets, overwhelming the peacekeepers with sheer numbers and unwavering determination. In the midst of the revolt, Katniss faced President Snow himself. The confrontation was fraught with tension, as Snow's sinister grin revealed his delight in the chaos that surrounded them. But Katniss refused to be cowed. She stood tall, her bow at the ready, and delivered a defiant speech that reverberated through the city. Her words were a rallying cry, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the oppressed. As the rebels closed in on the capital's central square, President Snow's grip on power slipped away like grains of sand through his fingers. With a mix of rage and desperation, he ordered an all-out assault on the rebels, clinging desperately to the hope of quelling the rebellion before it consumed him. The ensuing battle was a whirlwind of emotion and action. The rebels fought valiantly, their hearts emboldened by the presence of the Mockingjay. Each act of defiance, each life laid down in the pursuit of freedom, fueled the fire of rebellion. The city trembled under the weight of its own tumult, and in the heart of the chaos, Katniss locked eyes with Snow one final time. The unexpected turn of events left Snow vulnerable, and it was in this moment that Katniss made a decision that would change everything. She lowered her bow, refusing to become a pawn in Snow's twisted game. Instead, she turned her weapon on the new threat that loomed over them, the very symbol of oppression that had plagued the districts for so long. As the final arrow found its mark, an eerie silence settled over the capital. Snow's malevolent reign had come to an end, and a new era of uncertainty and hope dawned upon Panem. The Monkingjay's actions had sparked a revolution that would alter the course of history, but the fight for a better future was far from over. With the capital in ruins and the rebellion victorious, Katniss surveyed the aftermath of their battle. The streets were stained with the blood of the fallen, a stark reminder of the cost of freedom. Yet, amidst the devastation, there was a glimmer of hope, a hope that, perhaps, a world without the Hunger Games and the capital's tyranny was within reach. As the dust settled, Katniss's eyes found Peter, battered but alive. Their reunion was bittersweet, as they both knew that the scars of the past would not easily fade. But in each other's arms, they found a sense of solace, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love and resilience could be a beacon of light. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The Mockingjay had fulfilled her role as a symbol of hope and rebellion, but the road ahead was uncertain and fraught with challenges. With President Snow gone, a power vacuum loomed over Panem, and the struggle for a new order had just begun. Katniss knew that the fight for a better future would require sacrifice, compromise, and unwavering determination. The path to peace was treacherous, and the scars of war would run deep. But she was not alone. With allies like Gale, Peter, and her newfound friends from the capital, she stood ready to face whatever lay ahead. As the sun set over the ruins of the capital, casting a warm glow on the city's battered facade, Katniss couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. The journey had been arduous, and the road ahead was uncertain, but she knew that as long as the Mockingjay's spirit lived on in the hearts of the oppressed, the spark of rebellion would continue to burn bright. And in that flame, there lay the promise of a better tomorrow for all of Panem. Chapter 4. The Tragedy of District 8. In the aftermath of the revolution's triumph in the capital, the districts of Panem stood on the precipice of a new era. The fall of President Snow and the oppressive regime had sent shockwaves throughout the nation, but the euphoria of victory soon gave way to the harsh reality of rebuilding. The capital's rule had left deep scars on the districts, and the task of healing wounds and forging a united future was daunting. Katniss, Peter, and Gale found themselves at the center of the tumultuous transition. As the faces of the rebellion, they carried the weight of expectation on their shoulders, but the toll of war weighed heavily on their minds and hearts. Each night, they were haunted by memories of fallen friends and the faces of those they could not save. Sleep was elusive, and when it did come, it brought nightmares that shook them to their core. Amidst the rubble of the capital, a makeshift government took shape, comprising representatives from each district. They grappled with the complexities of governance and the daunting task of writing a new constitution that would lay the foundation for a more just society. But even as they debated laws and policies, old resentments and grievances simmered beneath the surface. In District 12, where Katniss and her friends hailed from, the scars of the past ran deep. The mines, once symbols of oppression, now stood as hollow reminders of the sacrifices made in the name of revolution. Families mourned lost loved ones, and many faced the daunting task of rebuilding their shattered lives. As the days turned into weeks, it became evident that the revolution had not magically eradicated all the ills of Panem. Hunger still gnawed at the outskirts of society, and whispers of dissent echoed in the shadows. Some believed that the new government was simply a continuation of the old, with power and privilege still concentrated in the hands of a few. Katniss knew that the seeds of change needed to be sown carefully. She had witnessed the consequences of blind anger and unchecked rebellion in the arena and knew that true progress would require more than just toppling a dictator. It would necessitate addressing the systemic issues that had plagued Panem for generations. In her role as the Mockingjay, Katniss embarked on a journey across the districts, accompanied by a small entourage that included Peter and Gale. Their presence served as a symbol of unity, a reminder that the districts were no longer adversaries but united in their pursuit of a better future. Their travels took them to District 11, the agricultural heartland of Panem. Here, they encountered both gratitude and skepticism. Some saw the Mockingjay as a beacon of hope, while others questioned whether the new government would truly prioritize their welfare. Katniss listened to their concerns with empathy, vowing to carry their voices back to the capital. In District 8, they witnessed the efforts to rebuild the textile industry, a once thriving sector that had suffered under the capital's rule. The people here were resilient, their spirits unbroken despite the devastation. As Katniss and her team walked through the bustling streets, she caught glimpses of children playing and laughter amid the reconstruction. These fleeting moments of joy were a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure even in the darkest of times. District 5, known for its expertise in energy production, presented a different set of challenges. The workers here yearned for safer conditions and fair wages. Katniss saw the same determination to rebuild, but she also recognized the simmering frustration that could erupt into unrest if their needs were not met. Throughout their journey, Katniss and her team encountered signs of change taking root. Schools were being rebuilt, and education was becoming accessible to more children than ever before. Health clinics had sprung up, tending to the wounded and sick with care and compassion. These small acts of progress offered glimmers of hope amidst the monumental task of rebuilding. But there were darker shadows lurking on the periphery. Rumors of dissent and insurgency spread like wildfire, threatening to undermine the fragile peace that the revolution had achieved. Katniss knew that suppressing these rumblings with force would only perpetuate the cycle of violence. Instead, she sought to address the root causes of discontent and create an environment where grievances could be aired and resolved peacefully. As they returned to the capital, the weight of their journey bore down on Katniss. She felt a responsibility to the people she had met in the districts, a duty to ensure that their sacrifices had not been in vain. The Mockingjay's song had inspired a revolution, but now she had to ensure that the song evolved into a lasting symphony of unity and progress. Back in the capital, the halls of power were filled with heated debates and conflicting visions for Panem's future. The once mighty regime was now fractured, and the struggle for dominance threatened to overshadow the revolution's ideals. Katniss knew that the real battle for the soul of Panem had just begun. In the midst of the political upheaval, Katniss found solace in the quieter moments with Peter and Gale. Their bond had deepened during their journey across the districts, and they leaned on each other for support in these trying times. Each of them carried scars, but together they found strength to face the challenges ahead. As Katniss stood on the balcony of the once grand presidential mansion, she gazed out over the capital. The city's opulence was now tinged with the dust of destruction, a poignant reminder that even the most powerful could fall. In that moment, she understood that the true power of the revolution lay not in toppling a dictator, but in building a world where every citizen could thrive. The embers of revolution still glowed within the hearts of the people of Panem, and it was up to Katniss and her allies to fan those embers into a roaring flame of progress and change. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she knew that as long as they stayed true to the ideals that had fueled their rebellion, there was hope for a brighter and more equitable future for all of Panem. Chapter 5: The Empty Victory. In the days that followed, Katniss found herself grappling with the weight of leadership and the uncertainty of the future. The capital's fall had left a void that seemed impossible to fill, and the new government's efforts to govern fairly faced constant challenges. As the Mockingjay, she became a target for those who clung to the remnants of the old regime, and whispers of doubt about her true intentions spread like wildfire. In the heart of the capital, where luxury once reigned supreme, a deep-seated resentment now simmered. The opulent mansions that once housed the capital elite now stood empty, their occupants either gone into hiding or facing trial for their crimes. The divide between the haves and have-nots was stark, and the newfound freedom for the common people felt both liberating and terrifying. Katniss knew that while the old order had crumbled, a new one had yet to solidify. She met with the representatives from the districts, trying to bridge the gap between their visions for Panem's future. The process was arduous, and progress was slow, hindered by disagreements and old grudges that ran deep. The fear of slipping back into tyranny loomed large, and some advocated for strict control to prevent chaos. As the Mockingjay navigated the treacherous waters of politics, she sought counsel from unexpected sources. Cinna's designs and words echoed in her mind, reminding her of the power of symbolism and the importance of staying true to one's beliefs. She often found herself visiting the old designer's workshop, now a shrine to his memory, seeking inspiration in the remnants of his artistry. Peter, too, was a constant source of support. His gentle presence and unwavering belief in a better future for Panem grounded her in moments of uncertainty. Together, they would stroll through the ruins of the capital, hand in hand, imagining a city reborn from the ashes. The idea of a prosperous and inclusive Panem seemed tangible when Peter was by her side. Yet, doubt continued to claw at Katniss's heart. The scars of the past were a constant reminder that the road to peace was littered with unforeseen obstacles. The fragility of the present was evident, and each decision she made had the potential to shape the fate of the nation. She knew that every misstep could plunge Panem into darkness once more. During one particularly tense meeting with the district representatives, a voice from the crowd challenged Katniss's leadership. It was a young woman named Maya, who had lost her parents in the final days of the rebellion. Grief and anger intertwined in her eyes as she accused Katniss of not understanding the true struggles of the districts. "Why should we trust you?" Maya's voice trembled with emotion. "You were the Mockingjay, but what do you know about life in District 10? You lived in the victor's village while we toiled in poverty." Katniss felt the weight of Maya's words like a physical blow. The truth in her accusations cut deep, and for a moment, doubt gripped Katniss's heart. Did she truly understand the complexities of the district's lives? Was she fit to lead when she had known privilege even amidst the rebellion? But Peter's voice rang out from the back of the room, steady and unwavering. "Katniss fought for all of us. She risked everything to end the tyranny that oppressed every district. Her courage brought us freedom." Gale, too, stood by her side. "She may not have lived through every hardship, but she's seen enough pain to fill a lifetime. And she carries the weight of every life lost in this struggle." The room fell into a hushed silence. Maya's anger seemed to waver, and tears glistened in her eyes. Katniss took a deep breath, gathering her resolve. "You are right," she said, her voice steady. "I can't claim to understand every pain and struggle you've endured. But I promise you this. I will listen, and I will fight for a better future, not just for the capital but for every district. We can't change the past, but together, we can shape the future." From that moment, Katniss knew that unity was not built on pretending to know the struggles of others but on empathy and a commitment to change. She redoubled her efforts to travel to every district, to listen to the people's stories, and to involve them in the decision-making process. The days turned into weeks, and the journey was grueling. But with each interaction, Katniss felt the tides of doubt receding. She saw glimpses of hope in the eyes of the people, and she witnessed the first sparks of solidarity between the districts. The road to recovery was slow and fraught with challenges, but Katniss refused to give in to despair. She knew that building a nation was not a solitary endeavor. It required the collective strength and resilience of its people. As the sun set over the capital one evening, Katniss stood at the balcony, gazing out at the city. The scars of war were still visible, but amidst the ruins, she saw something else, the seeds of change taking root. The embers of revolution were giving way to the glow of hope, and she knew that together, they would forge a new Panem, where the shadows of doubt would be dispelled by the dawn of a brighter future. Chapter 6: The Final Showdown. In the aftermath of the rebellion, a fragile peace settled over Panem. The districts, once united in their fight against the capital, now faced the daunting task of rebuilding their shattered lives. Katniss and Peter, along with the new government, worked tirelessly to implement reforms that would ensure a more equitable future for all. As the first signs of spring painted the landscape with vibrant colors, the people cautiously began to emerge from their homes. The scars of war were still visible, but amidst the destruction, green shoots of hope pushed through the rubble. The streets of the capital, once synonymous with opulence, were now filled with people from the districts, working alongside former capital residents to clear debris and mend what had been broken. In the midst of this newfound unity, a sinister undercurrent threatened to unravel the delicate fabric of peace. Whispers of dissent and mistrust spread like wildfire, and Katniss sensed a growing sense of unease among the citizens. The Mockingjay knew that there were those who still clung to the old ways, longing for the days when power resided solely in the capital's hands. One morning, as Katniss and Peter walked through the bustling streets of the capital, they noticed a group of young people huddled together, their expressions tense. Among them was Maya, the same woman who had challenged Katniss's leadership during the district representatives' meeting. Curious, Katniss approached the group, and Maya's eyes met hers, her gaze unyielding. "We don't need the Mockingjay telling us what to do," she said defiantly, her voice tinged with bitterness. "We don't trust the capital, and we don't trust you either." Katniss exchanged a glance with Peter, her heart heavy with the weight of the task ahead. She understood the fear and mistrust that lingered in the hearts of many. The wounds of the past ran deep, and it would take more than just words to heal them. "We don't want to dictate your future," Peter spoke gently, his voice resonating with sincerity. "We want to build it together, as one nation." But Maya shook her head, unwilling to relent. "Actions speak louder than words. We need more than just promises." In that moment, a young man stepped forward from the group. His name was Luke, a former capital resident who had witnessed the tyranny firsthand and had joined the rebellion in its final days. He looked at Katniss with a mix of uncertainty and determination. "I believe in you, Katniss," Luke said, his voice steady. "But I also believe in the people of the capital. We need a symbol of unity, someone who can bridge the gap between the districts and the capital. We need someone from both worlds." Katniss was taken aback by Luke's words, but she understood the power of symbolism all too well. Peter gave her a reassuring nod, silently urging her to listen. "I am just one person," Katniss replied, her mind racing with the weight of Luke's proposal. "There are many others who can represent unity." "But you are the Mockingjay," Maya interjected, her voice softer now, touched by a hint of hope. "You inspired us all to stand up against tyranny. We need you to lead." Katniss felt torn, caught between her desire to do what was best for Panem and her doubts about her ability to truly unite the people. She took a moment to collect her thoughts, looking out at the faces of those gathered around her. "I will do my best," she finally said, her voice resolute. "But I can't do it alone. We need to build a council, a diverse group of representatives from every district and the capital. Together, we can ensure that everyone's voice is heard." Luke stepped forward again, offering his hand to Katniss. "I will stand with you," he said, "as a symbol of unity." Katniss shook Luke's hand, feeling a surge of determination course through her veins. She knew that the path ahead would be filled with challenges and uncertainties, but she also knew that the only way to overcome them was together. And so, the Council of Unity was formed, with representatives from each district and the capital coming together to forge a new future. The council's meetings were often intense and heated, with conflicting viewpoints and deep-rooted prejudices coming to the surface. But Katniss, Peter, and Luke remained steadfast, reminding the council members of the importance of working together for the greater good. As the weeks turned into months, the Council of Unity became a symbol of hope for the nation. Slowly but surely, the divisions that had once separated the districts and the capital began to blur. People from different walks of life started to collaborate, realizing that their shared struggles far outweighed their differences. Katniss, Peter, and Luke faced many trials during their journey to unite Panem, but each challenge only strengthened their resolve. Together, they learned that true unity was not about erasing the past but acknowledging it, not about ignoring differences but celebrating them. And so, as the sun set over a united Panem, Katniss knew that their work had just begun. The test of loyalties was ongoing, but she was confident that as long as they stood united, Panem would rise from the ashes, stronger than ever before. The Mockingjays' song of hope echoed through the nation, a melody that would endure for generations to come. Epilogue: A New Beginning. Several years had passed since the formation of the Council of Unity, and Panem had undergone a remarkable transformation. The scars of the past were not forgotten, but they had become a reminder of the nation's resilience and the power of unity. Under the guidance of the Council, new laws were enacted to ensure equality and justice for all citizens. Education became a top priority, with schools and learning centers established in every district and the capital. The hunger for knowledge was insatiable, and children from all walks of life eagerly soaked up the wisdom of the world. Katniss and Peter had become parents, and their two children, a boy named Rye and a girl named Willow, were a symbol of hope for the future. The Mockingjays' legacy lived on in them, and they were raised to understand the importance of empathy, compassion, and the value of every human life. One sunny morning, Katniss stood at the edge of District 12, overlooking the vast expanse of green fields that had once been nothing but ashes. She took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of fresh earth and new beginnings. Behind her, the ruins of the old victor's village stood as a testament to the past, a reminder of the dark days that had led them to this point. As she turned to walk back to her home, Katniss noticed a group of children playing together, some from District 12 and some from the capital. There were no boundaries, no divisions. They were simply children, united by laughter and shared experiences. It was a sight that would have been unimaginable not long ago. Peter joined her, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. "Look how far we've come," he said, his voice filled with pride. "Yes," Katniss replied, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "But we can never forget the sacrifices that were made to get here." As they walked back to their house, they passed the bakery where Peter had once worked. It was now a bustling establishment, known for its delectable bread and pastries. Peter had found solace in baking, and his creations had become a symbol of comfort and unity for the people of Panem. Inside their home, a familiar scent greeted them, fresh bread just out of the oven. Rye and Willow rushed to greet their parents, their faces glowing with excitement. They were curious about the world and eager to learn about their parents' journey. "Tell us the Mockingjay's story again," Willow pleaded, her eyes wide with wonder. Katniss and Peter exchanged a knowing glance, and together, they recounted the tale of the girl who defied all odds, the girl who became the symbol of hope, the Mockingjay. As the children listened with rapt attention, Katniss couldn't help but marvel at how much had changed since she had volunteered as tribute for her sister all those years ago. She had never sought the spotlight, never desired to be the Mockingjay, but fate had chosen her for that role. And now, she embraced it with pride, knowing that her actions had paved the way for a better future. The epilogue of Panem's history was not the end of the story. It was just the beginning. The Mockingjay's song had reverberated through time, and its melody had ignited a fire in the hearts of the people. The journey to unity was ongoing, but the nation had learned that together, they were stronger than any force that sought to divide them. As the sun set over the horizon, casting a golden glow over District 12, Katniss felt a deep sense of peace and gratitude. She knew that there would be challenges ahead, but with the Council of Unity guiding the way and the spirit of the Mockingjay living on in every citizen, Panem was destined for a future brighter than anyone could have imagined. And so, as the Mockingjays sang their evening song, the people of Panem embraced their new beginning with open hearts and a determination to build a nation where unity, justice, and hope would forever reign. The Mockingjay's legacy would forever soar, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit could rise above, and a new beginning was always within reach. Thank you for watching. You could download the vocabulary PDF below. To stay up to date on our future videos, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and let us know what you think in the comments below.